Hello, everyone. In light of all that has been happening to government employees over the last 6 weeks, I wanted to take a moment to talk about current events outside of the context of an interview. Reason being, this podcast is my form of tribute to staffers and the work that they do. It's my ode to public service and the people who carry it out, mostly anonymously and for less pay than they could make elsewhere, because they believe in the enterprise of our own self-government. Serving one's country or state or community as a staffer is not only noble, it is important work. Government generally does the things that we, the people, want, but the private sector can't provide or won't provide at a price that's accessible to most people. These government functions are essential for our well-being. We all like well-maintained roads and bridges and airports. We all like clean air and water. We all like having the country's nuclear weapons secured. We all like the fact that when there's a natural disaster, there are people who run into the affected areas to help. But what has been happening at the federal level to important government functions and the staffers who perform them is mindless and dangerous. I'm talking, of course, of the Elon Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Now, let me stipulate. We all also want government efficiency. Bloat and bureaucracy should be tackled. I'm actually all for a DOGE committee that looks across the government, works with people of all parties, and strips out everything that is either no longer necessary or can be done well for less money and fewer people. We can use the savings to pay down the debt, invest in things we need, or return it to taxpayers, or some combination of all three. Unfortunately, that is not what DOGE is doing. All credible reporting, including self-reporting by people inside the Trump administration, is that DOGE is creating incentives for people to leave government service through a dubious buyout, running word searches on websites and HR records for terms related to DEI and climate, accessing payment systems, and using artificial intelligence to make cuts, then lopping off personnel and sometimes whole agencies without even a modest claim to a sober review of need, cost, and priority. It is the dumbest possible way I could think of reforming the system. And by the way, it's not because I'm a skeptic of artificial intelligence. I actually think it holds a lot of promise, as well as some peril too. But as Axios recently reported, AI is known for inaccuracies, errors the industry has come to call hallucinations or confabulations. Unless the technology's conclusions are carefully double-checked, they can lead to costly mistakes. And there is no careful double-checking. So we are seeing a lot of mistakes. Many of the fired civil servants at the FDA and Consumer Financial Protection Bureau were funded by industry fees, not tax dollars. So they weren't even costing taxpayers anything. No savings were achieved by these cuts. Just loss of brain power and functionality. DOGE fired the head of the Nuclear Security Administration, which oversees the safety of the nation's nuclear weapons stockpile. Oops. They had to ask to bring that person back. Staffing cuts at the FAA, including in the area of critical infrastructure needed for air traffic control, are causing safety experts to raise the alarm loudly that air travel is going to be more dangerous. And these are just some of the mistakes that have been widely reported. You have to ask, why are we giving ourselves a lobotomy? On this show, I have interviewed dozens and dozens of people, nearly 100 guests. All of them have been staffers at some time in their lives. I've interviewed Democrats and Republicans, and here is one thing they've all agreed on. Government staffers are a national treasure. They are a deep resource of expertise, skill, experience, and yes, patriotism. They are part of the scaffolding that keeps our democracy upright. We should want people to consider it an honor to take jobs in public service. As citizens, we all benefit when staffers are mission-driven, hardworking, ethical people who want to do their jobs well for their country or community. And we should want them operating within a system that operates as efficiently and thoughtfully as possible. Unfortunately, what DOGE is doing is the opposite of all that. Its work has been described as chaotic and indiscriminate. You may have read they are mostly firing, quote, probationary employees. In other words, people who have been in their jobs less than 1 or 2 years. You could be forgiven for thinking, therefore, that probationary employees are young professionals who haven't been in government very long. Not true. Hundreds of thousands of these people are simply new to their current position because they were promoted in the last year or two, or because they were recruited to the government from a position of real success and accomplishment. They had exceptional reviews and therefore were given more responsibility in many cases. These are talented Americans who are being fired without regard to their quality or the necessity of their role. Sadly, I have a feeling that when our government operates less well because of all this indiscriminate cutting, it's people who support the hack and slash approach who will be the first to complain. So let me wind this up. If you are a public servant who has been affected by these cuts, thank you for what you've done for the country. Also, you should know there are resources available to you at a new organization called civilservicestrong.org. They offer support, legal advice, and advocacy networks for current and former government employees. And second, if you agree that there is a better way to enhance government efficiency than sending Elon Musk and his youthful sidekicks into every taxpayer-owned agency, then call your elected representatives and demand that they hit the brakes on DOGE and empower a bipartisan government reform commission with a clear mandate and a deadline for action. And when you call, remember, you'll probably be talking to a staffer. So thank them.